All right, what is up, guys? It's been a little while. Moffin TC back with another episode of Navigating Modern Dating. It's been quite a few weeks since we've seen you guys, so we appreciate the patience. A lot of travel, a lot of life, a lot of stuff going on. But hopefully we're back to a more regular, normal schedule. I think we're going to move them instead of Tuesdays, Mondays. We might do some back and forth. It's all going to depend on TC's schedule. I've got a new podcast that I've been hinting at for the last couple of weeks for some of you guys that were going to launch tomorrow. That's going to be live in studio. I'm guessing it's going to be streamed to my channel, but it might be streamed to a different one. So, I'll post it on like socials and Instagram and stuff so you guys know where everything's at. What else? Yeah, man. If you guys didn't know, I've been on Rule Zero the last couple Saturdays, so that's been really cool. So if you're, I'm going to try to be on as many of those shows as I possibly can. So if you're following guys like Nuclear Caudillo and you're following Jack Napier and Rolo and all those guys, I'm going to try to get on there with those guys as much as possible. It's been fun chopping it up with those dudes. And that was something we talked about on Saturday is kind of the onus for the show this evening. But yeah, man, you've had some life stuff going on yourself. Like, what the hell's been going on in your world?
Just moving and not going to drop where I'm at now, but different climate, different politics, and different pool of women. So brought my women with me and next chapter of my life. And I don't know, I've been down here for like a month, almost set up. I got to get the studio finished up and some other loose ends wrapped up, but I don't know how long I'm going to be here. You know, different
That bad
climates are
so
fun.
far, huh?
Yeah, it's
Not your cup of tea.
people say, this area is like very different politically, that area is very different politically. Um, people have a lot of opinions like about California, about Florida, about Texas, about New York. And at the end of the day, even if you're in a very conservative place, if you're in a major metro, it's not very conservative. If you're in a very liberal state, if you're like out in the country, very, very conservative, right? So we'll see how long I'm in the proximity of a metro right now, which I don't love, but it is what it is.
It's where
Make
the
some
people
money.
are. Make some money. Yeah, it's where the money is for sure. Hey guys, hopefully we'd love to have some call-ins. So if you guys have stuff you want to chop up, I know we've always said like call-ins start 9 o'clock or whatever, but we haven't done a lot of call-ins before. So the call-in link is pinned. If you guys want to do that, just come backstage and we'll chop it up with you, ask us a question or whatever it might be. But yeah, man, this is something that we were talking about on Saturday, me, Jack, and Nuke, and it was the idea of game and how it gets the bad rap and how it's like this new thing is it's gesturing right now. You're dancing, you're trying to win women's approval, or you're trying to do something for validation. And I think it's actually brings up a secondary point, which I think is a little nuanced that I would love to dive into, where it seems to me that we've started or that this dichotomy has emerged in the modern dating sphere dialogue where it's a woman should, if she's really interested in you, and a woman has GBD for you, and she is just all about you, and you're the guy, her level of resistance should be essentially zero. Like you could basically do whatever you want, say whatever you want, go out and whatever you want, do whatever you want with other women, whatever, because a woman's desire for you is just so high, like she's never going to walk on you, or she's never just going to say no, she's never going to give you pushback. The second one is it's like, well, what that also means is that if a woman is giving you any sort of resistance or she's trying to change plans, she's trying to cancel, she doesn't want to go to that part of town, she wants to meet you halfway instead of driving all the way over, she's not really interested in you, and you should just cut bait and like find better options. And so I wonder if guys are potentially using that as an excuse to not try, or has the art of seduction just been completely lost? Are guys just saying, hey, if she's, because there are guys out there, if she doesn't come to my place right away, first date, I'm not even bothering. um and I wonder how many guys are just talking themselves out of relationships or even fun sexual escapades because they can't be bothered to like take a girl out for a drink or entertain her for an hour, just so the old line is she can make sure you're not a serial killer and you're not going to stuff her into a suitcase. So I don't know, man. Where do you fall on that? Like, what do you think about that whole thing?
Women love serial killers, man.
Indeed, they do. Yeah, let's be straight, guys. They
They
love it.
do. For
Jailbirds,
anyone
serial killers, homeless people, they're into it.
for anyone watching, Google the book Haunting Adeline. Google what the plot's about. Google like spiciest moments, and then think about the fact that this book has sold more copies per year than the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy. So anyone watching,
I never
just
even
go
heard of
check
it.
that out, and then you'll understand women love serial killers and everything. You know, sugar, spice, and everything nice, and everything that's the opposite of that. Um, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know about taking chicks back to your place on the first day. Like, take them to the smash pad. Like keep
What or
your.
whatever it is, right? Like whatever it is where it's like I just say jump and she says okay and says how high. It's like I picked a place, I tell her we're gonna do this, tell her we're gonna do that. Like I was reading the story on Twitter where it was like, and this is a guy who understood it. He was like, this is a he was making plans with this chick, then she was visiting from out of town. And they had some conversations in the past and they were like friendly and platonic, but then somewhere along the line they started both like flirting a little more and then they were doing very like basically sexting. And she's like, well, I'm going to be up there in like a couple of weeks, and so they're all leading up to this. And he's like, all right, cool, like got you I think he either paid for the hotel or he helped her out with. He's like, oh, like you're going to be here, whatever, and then let me know when you get there and like I'll come over. And because he's thinking like this is a done deal, they've talked about it, he's going to seal the deal. And then he's like driving over there and I think she was like, oh, can we get a drink somewhere first, or can we get a drink before? And then I think he said like yeah, there's like a hotel bar, so let's just do that. And her response was just very like, oh, okay. And then he picked up on that, he's like, oh, all right, that wasn't the right answer. So he said, or we can just go to this spot nearby, let's have like a drink or two, and then whatever. And then they went and did that. And then like he sealed the deal. Right. So like, I think that's a high level advanced sort of move. I think the average guy, or if you listen to enough guys on the internet, and they're talking about like GPD and like, yeah, man, she was just looking for a free hotel room. She doesn't actually want you to come over. You need to like block her and like next her, bro. Like just, and he's like, dude, it cost me an hour and two drinks and then I got laid. Like, so, I mean, I don't know. It's the answer lies between us somewhere. The truth lies in there somewhere. Like where how much resistance is too much resistance? What's the cause for it? Is how much resistance is actually like, no, dude, she just doesn't like you and she's just playing you for a sucker.
Yeah, I think the one of the issues a lot of guys fall into is they're not attractive enough, and a big part of attraction is also how you act. A big part of it is the ability to just get it, to like be able to read a woman's mind and just know, like read the cues and read the room and proceed that way. Um, but like a lot of guys will, um, they'll try to do this like come over game, but they don't just get it. And so then what happens is they do get, if they're attractive but they kind of don't get it, they will get chicks to come over, but they're like not the type of chicks, like they're just very very promiscuous women, a lot of BPD, like women in their quote unquote hoe phase, right? Like lots of women will come over. The women that come over the easiest when you don't have a lot of game are usually the women that destroy your life, and they're also the women that like give men a really bad taste about women. Um, so it's kind of like, how do you get the women that are less train wrecks, less promiscuous, less, like BPD, SSRIs, 50 dudes in the past year? How do you get them to come over? And the answer is sometimes like, yeah, you need to get more, like you need to get um, them to react positively, and like they need to allow you to escalate things, but you should do it at a pace that's normal, that's natural, right? Like the vibes they're giving you, you need to be able to read that and play with it, right? So like the story, this guy that's traveling and slinging dick, right? Once he gets that kind of like, I don't know about like this is the vibe the woman's giving off is, oh, I actually don't know about this. Like, and in her mind, she might be like, I was super horny last night. I was ovulating 4 days ago. Now I'm not, right? Like, there's lots of things that could cause this. Maybe her day at work sucked. Maybe she didn't get enough sleep. She's just not quite feeling it like she was the day before. And if he picks up on that, he can kind of use this in his frame rather than being like, oh, well, if you don't want to get drinks, I understand. We just met. Like, what do you want to? He can be like, he can pick up on it and text her like an hour later, hey, change of plans. I'm hungry. Meet me at this sushi spot. And then he can give her what she wants, what she's looking for, like one more step to get over the finish line. That last, like, I'm not really sure about this guy. And he can go be fun and captivating and seductive and playful at the sushi spot. And then he can go seal the deal. But he needs to pick up on this. And he can't put it back in her frame, right? Like, you have to keep the power, right? Like, we're not going to get food because you're acting like you're going to flake. I'm just fucking hungry, and we're going to the spot because I like it. And after that, we'll see. We'll see what happens after that.
What benefit is it, if at all, if it makes sense to do this? Like, let's say the guy does get it and he's picking up on that. He goes, oh, like you said, like, okay, she might have been raring to go like yesterday, but for whatever reason, she's not feeling. And it's like, again, this is a good lesson for guys to learn. Whatever she's saying to you right now is because that's how she feels right now. This could change in 10 minutes, in 10 days, in 10 years, whatever. However, she's responding to you or acting towards you is not a permanent thing for the most part. So there's no like guarantee, like there's no take this to the bank. You guys could have been texting back and forth for a couple of weeks or however long it was, and it was just like everything was on the path. And then you just might get that last minute resistance because it's like now it's real. Now you're really in it. And all of a sudden at the same time, like what the alarm bell that's going off in her brain, it's like she is still doing the anti-slut thing. She's still doing the, hey, I don't do this that often. And she's trying to have a conversation with herself. But besides the point, so a guy that does recognize that, is there any reason or does it help to be almost overt about that and call it out in a way that signals to her that I understand and I get it? He's like, hey, look, I get it. Let's go out and get a drink. And he's playful about it, obviously. He's not just like, hey, yeah, all right, you're just trying to make sure I'm not going to murder you or whatever. And I totally get it. Like, all right, let's go get a drink. And then, we'll go from there or whatever. Because one of the things that I've started trying to tell the guys that I work with, a lot of them is that, and I always catch shit for this when I say it, but if you can learn how to empathize, right? I use that in quotes, or to understand the plight of the modern woman, you can go far. If you understand why dating apps are hard for women, just like they're hard for women, just like they're hard for men, but for the opposite reasons, because they have crazy amount of choice and they have endless opportunity, and then like they're on a clock and they don't know if this guy is good or not. So it's like, how much should a guy be overt about that? He's like, oh, yeah, I bet it's really tough for you to do that because you don't want to see him this way. And then she goes, oh, my God, this guy gets everything. Or is it better for him just to take the lead and he just seems like he's doing it naturally?
Yeah, I mean, it should, like, nothing should be overt. It should always be fun. It should always be playful. So, like, in that situation where you've set up, like a hotel room in her city and you've been sexting for 2 weeks, and now, tonight's the big finale. All the time, women are like talking this big game and sending all sorts of crazy stuff. And they get there in person and they're like a little duck, just like sitting there, like totally quiet, right? A little duckling, right?
Yeah.
And so I've always found that you can kind of break this ice, be like, hey, what happened, big dog? Like, you were talking all of this gymnastics you're gonna do on me in the hotel room, and what now? You're in person, you're shy, you're demure now. And then you could just play with her. I'd be like, hey, I could tell like you're kind of nervous. It's cool. I get it. Like, let's just go get a drink and have some fun before we go up.
Yeah, man. I think it can't be overstated that it has to be playful and it has to be fun. Because if you say the same words, this is where the real difficulty is. I'm like, because some of the guys I talk to are switched on. and they understand the, intersexual dynamics, and they understand the male and female stuff. But it's like, but you can't get into an argument, and you can't get into a debate, and you can't make it sound serious. Because if I took the same thing you just said and I just wasn't joking, I was like, oh, what happened? You talked a big game, and like the minute that you're here, now you're all demure, and like we're not gonna, like, okay, like that's way different than what you just said. It's the same words, but the tone is like accusatory, and it's butthurt, and it's defensive. And I don't know. I think some guys are, you kind of have to play, like, playfulness. You kind of have to lay it on thick for it to really stick. You can't kind of half-ass it. You can't be like, oh, well, you did this. And then, because if you do it, and like even that right there, it's like, oh, are you talking all this big game? And it almost sounds like you're pretending to be funny, but you really are hurt. You have to really be playful, and you have to really lay it on thick and sell it. Otherwise, it's just going to come off as butthurt. So, but I think that's something a lot of guys struggle with. I think guys are far too serious, and even if they're trying to be playful, they just can't land it.
Yeah, I mean, guys just, I don't know, a lot of guys are really black pilled, and I get it. Like a lot of guys are like not where they want to be with women. I think a lot of it is like guys haven't gotten annihilated enough times by women that they originally thought were like different, right? Like they haven't realized that,
She
there's
was the
not like some
unicorn,
special,
man. Yeah, she was
yeah,
the
there's
one.
like they haven't gotten that enough times. Um, they're like they're black pilled, but they're not past it, right? Like eventually you get over being black pilled, and then like it should be funny to you that like the whole thing should be funny, where this woman has like been this freak over text for the past 2 weeks, and now she's like trying to act like she's not, she's not like that, right? Like she's trying to, whatever it is, she's nervous, and this will happen with guys who do have their shit together too. Whereas like a lot of these women that are being a freak with you, like guys that really have their shit in order, when they get in front of you, it's not like the dude that's working at McDonald's that's borrowing his mom's car to come over. Like this is a different type of animal for this woman, and she's like, "Oh shit, this is a real one, man. This isn't some chump, that I can wrap around my finger." So women do get intimidated also by men that have their shit together, and just got to put them at ease and laugh at, nothing is serious, and as soon as you get serious, it's like when you're on a hard trip with the boys. If someone's complaining like about their feet hurt and this, like, shut the fuck up, dude.
Shut up, dude.
Like,
Go
shut
put a
up.
tampon. Like, change your fucking tampon.
Yeah, exactly. So like guys need to be able to bring, and I've talked about this before, you need to be able to bring that like riffing with the boys energy, but like a different type of that energy to being playful with women. Like it's got
Yeah.
to be the same type of vibe, but like it can't, just can't say the same stuff and in the same way.
Right.
I don't know how to explain it, but
It's
guys
like
just get it.
ball,
No,
but
like,
yeah, it's ball busting in a way that's like, but she's in on the joke, right? You're kind of like, this is silly, right? It's kind of like that, right? Where it's supposed to like, oh, this guy, this guy, this guy, and you're trying to like press him and see what he's made of, or you're trying to see how he'll bounce back and see if he'll like give it back to you or whatever. You don't like, it's always so funny. Like girls talk about how like we want to have good banter. And it's like, I would put you in, I'm like, I would have you on the floor intellectually, banter wise. Like you can't hang with me. You just can't. You're not as smart as I am. Like you don't have the vocabulary. I talk for a living. You know how many hours I've spent in front of this microphone? Infinite hours. Plus like all the bullshit that I used to do back in the day. Like you can't banter with me. You just can't. And that's okay. I don't expect you to. Yeah, but I think it's something guys really struggle with. But I agree, you gotta kind of have that sort of like ball busting, teasing, playful sort of thing. And I wonder why guys struggle with this so much. But you did bring up a good point, and we talked about this too, and we talk about this quite often. Like on Saturday, we mentioned it's like, man, guys are just afraid, even dudes that are well put together. And girls will be intimidated by a put together man, and they won't, you would think that's crazy because because you see how women act on the internet. You see how women are just firing shit off into the Twitter sphere and how they get on Instagram and all these TikToks that they make. And you're forgetting they're not actually talking to people. They're sitting at home in their PJs, like with their Twitter fingers, firing stuff off into the void, or they're just doing a TikTok thing, just talking to their phone with nobody else in the room. Even if they're on live YouTube, like we're just talking to each other right now. There's 20 people that are watching, but you and I are just talking to each other, not to the other people that are in the room. And so when these women are going out in person or going out on dates, like, yeah, they are 100 times more nervous than you are. They want it to go well way more than you do because guys don't have hell of as much, nearly as much to lose if it goes wrong. It's like, all right, not on to the next one or whatever. But women's that clock is always ticking, and they're every single date that she goes on, she is hoping, praying that you are the guy, that this is the last first date she's ever going to go on. So like, she didn't get dressed and shave and put on matching underwear and like get her hair done and tell the girlfriends where she's going to be and share her location and get her nails done just so she could be disappointed by you. So give her what she wants and what she's asking for. Hold on, I want to grab this quote. All right, I'm quote. Who who do you think has a? I'm gonna paraphrase this because this is not. Who do you think has a harder time in the dating world, ugly men or ugly women? Like, what do you think? It's gonna be. It's Men are always gonna have a harder time no matter what. You could now. A better question would be who has a harder time in dating, attractive men or ugly women? I don't know. Harder. I mean, I think dating is hard for men and women for different reasons. Like the reason, so let me back on what I said about why dating apps are hard for men and also hard for women. They're just hard for the inverse reason. So dating apps are hard for men because they have very few options for the most part. Most men are painfully unattractive. Most men are actually average, which means you're unattractive. And you're not getting a lot of options. You're not being seen. You're bottom of the barrel, like you're getting swiped left on. You're invisible. Dating apps are hard for women because they have unlimited choice. And when a lot of people think that's a good thing, I say, okay, imagine you walked into an ice cream shop. You could choose to go to two ice cream shops. One has 6 flavors and the other one has 10,000. That's what women are walking into an ice cream shop that has 10,000 different flavors. And so they spend so much time, and it's like they have to sample this flavor, sample this one, sample this one, sample this one, and they're not liking it, but there's so many options they just keep sampling, and all of a sudden like 10 years has gone by and they haven't even made a dent, right? They've tried 1,000 flavors, but there's still 9,000 more. And since they've been in the shop, another 5,000 flavors have been added to the board. So they just get fed up and they just walk out of the shop altogether until they get bored. They're like, I could use some ice cream right about now. And then they go back in the shop. So a lot of people don't understand this. And a lot of guys don't think a lot of guys think women just have these otherworldly, easy lives. And they're just like, they have all this attention and they got all these simps and they're bowing down to them and they can just have sugar daddies and they can just put their Cash App in their bio or whatever. And that somehow means that their life is easy. So I don't think anybody has it easy. I think, it comes for us all one way or the other. And even if it did, even if women's lives were easy, so the fuck what? So what? It doesn't make your life any better, or I mean, it does nothing for you. So I know that wasn't the question, but frankly, it's like not a very good question.
Women have it rough now, man. Like, obviously, like we talk a lot about, it's rough for men and the global sexual marketplace and women's
Shut up.
hypergamy,
Stop
but
crying. I'm so sick of hearing it, dude. Oh my
but
God.
we're coming off of like 100 something years of sexual socialism for men. So that's why it seems so hard. Because it's like, oh my, my grandfather was promised a virgin. It's like, yeah, and back in the day, like your grandfather was just dead before we got to reproduce, before we, enacted enforced monogamy across our culture, to keep men happy and pacified. So, but women nowadays have a problem where the smartest, most attractive, most charismatic, most successful men most of them are trying their hardest not to impregnate women. And like that's what women
Yeah.
want beyond everything else, is to be impregnated by the best man possible. So they're like all the guys they really want are trying their hardest not to get any women pregnant, because this is what men think is smart nowadays, right? Like, don't impregnate a train wreck. She's going to destroy your life. Um, and then none of them have fathers that to guide them through the process of men, so they just get wrecked by, particularly unscrupulous characters. So poor ladies.
Yeah. Like we like the ladies are they're friends of the show. We don't discriminate around here. I mean, look, like we think it's hard for both. I'm just so sick of the fighting. I'm so sick of the war where it's just, oh, women have all this and men do this and men do that. And I try not to pay attention to that kind of stuff, but it's yeah, I mean, I see that where guys, and it's like, why otherwise? Why would these guys want to settle the don't impregnate a train wreck? Okay. I mean, even if she's not, right? Even if she's not a train wreck, it's like one of the, women can be fickle creatures, man. And like who she is today is not necessarily who she's going to be tomorrow or next week, next month, next year, 10 years. Like we already talked about that earlier in the show. So it's like, but then always the burden always comes back on the man. It's like, well, if she stops doing that, and it's like, man, every time I turn on the Twitter, turn on the X, every week it's just the same rehashed, like dead bedrooms. Men need to step up and be more attractive. And it's just like this constant passing of the buck of duty versus what you're required to do and this and that. It's like, dude, I don't care about any of this. It's just do what works for you, man. And if it doesn't work, then like figure out a way to fix it. But placing moral boundaries on people or telling people what they ought, it doesn't do anything. We talk about this a lot where it's like, man, what do you want? Figure out what you want and then figure out what it's going to take to get that and then go work towards it and then make that happen. And it's like, if you're one of these guys, it's like, whatever, what I want is this and it's impossible. All right, man, cool. Word, sounds good. Impossible, sounds good. Don't care. I don't care. Like I've become so disinterested in offering any help to any men that talk black pill shit or that say anything about how cooked we all are. I'm like, all right, man, cool. Enjoy that. Peace. I just won't even entertain it. I'll just block them or I just won't even talk. I won't even listen to him. Like I'll be on a call with a guy and he's like, yeah, man, like I just don't think there are any women like in the West that are. I'm like, yeah, dude, can't. Oh, sorry, bro. Got to go later. I won't listen to it. I just can't do it. It's just nonsense.
Trying to figure out how to unmute. My mouse died. Yeah, I want to touch back on this idea of how much resistance do you tolerate?
Yeah.
When I saw the show title today, I started chuckling because I had a funny moment over the weekend with a new prospect, and I like doing my phone call sniff test.
Right.
So we're talking on the phone, and she's giving me all sorts of resistance. Right. I'm just having fun with it and playing along. Some of the lines that were really funny. So she's still living with her ex-boyfriend. And the ex-boyfriend has a kid with another woman. And he has full custody. And she's still like helping him with the kid. So I already knew, like in the beginning of this phone call, this is an unmitigated disaster that I'm not going anywhere near. But I was like, let me have some fun anyways, right? Like maybe in 6 months, she'll be out on her own and hit me up, right? And we can have some fun. So one of the things I said to her was, she was complaining about how the guy doesn't discipline his kid, right? And like the baby mama runs him. And I was like, you know what the problem is, right? And she's like, oh, please tell me. And I was like, the problem is he isn't fucking her right. If he was fucking her right, she'd be acting properly. And she was like, oh, you think that I'd be okay with that happening? I'd be like, well, I think actually you'd be turned on by that happening. And she was like, oh my God, I can't believe. So like she didn't care. Like she was having a good time on the phone call, even though it was like the most, I was putting the most, like she was giving me the most resistance and I was just like going through it like I didn't care, right? I'm just having fun. Like this is crazy to me. Let's see how far she'll go playing along. So then somehow we got on the conversation of, She's asking me like, oh, where do you want to move and live one day? And she told me she wants to get pregnant as soon as possible. I was like, well, I got some good news for you. I want to get as many women as pregnant as soon as possible. And she's like, oh my God, you're so bad. What's wrong with you? And this is the first phone call with this chick, right? So we somehow got into the conversation about firearms. And she said to me, oh, you own guns? And I'm like, of course. What kind of man doesn't own guns? What kind of man can't protect his family? And she was like, oh, well, my therapist said because of the thoughts I have sometimes that I shouldn't date a man that has guns in the house. And I was like, oh. So I just said to her, I said,
Now we're
don't
cooking with
worry.
gas.
I said, don't worry. I only own guns that children and dumb bitches can't figure out how to fire.
So you're safe.
Yeah, I was like, so don't worry. And
So you're
she
good.
still wanted to talk and play along.
Yeah.
Like that didn't end the she didn't go, oh my God, and hang up the phone. She was like, oh my God, you're so bad. This shit, right? And I was like, yeah, just whatever resistance they give, don't get mad. Don't try to reason with it. Just go straight through it and have fun while doing it. And if they get butthurt and decide to, they don't want to talk to you or hang out or whatever, who cares? Who fucking cares?
Yeah, the biggest difference is like you're doing it in a way where you're having a good time. And these women are seeing that and they're reacting to you having a good time and they're having a good time because they're taking their cues from you. That's again like what so many guys fail to understand is that in any situation, in any interaction, she's going to be taking her cues from you. So, like, if you're acting a certain way, she's going to be a reflection on you because that's the environment that you're creating. Again, I hate to always continually put the onus on the guys, but they've got a real problem. A lot of guys that I work with have a real problem taking leadership on dates. They've got a real problem. Now, a lot of them take this shit too far. One of them was telling a story where, and I might have talked about this before, but this is like, and it's like the whole holding women accountable, guys, give that shit up like yesterday. Stop. It's never going to work. She doesn't care about your opinion. She just doesn't. She cares about your opinion when she's like slept with you or when she's sleeping with you. Otherwise, if you're not sleeping with her, she doesn't give a shit about what you say. If you're not her father and you're not fucking her, she doesn't give a fuck what you say. So, and a lot of guys are mad about that, which is very dumb. So, like, apparently they were supposed to go out and they were in a city that was hosting a World Cup game and parking was really atrocious. And I think she showed up something like 40, 45 minutes late. Now, why the guy stayed there for 45 minutes is beyond me, and that's a separate conversation. But so she sits down and she's apologetic. And she's like, parking was crazy. It was during a game. It was like literally during a World Cup game. And I think they started the date and started having conversation. And then after maybe a couple minutes, he goes, hey, I just have to stop real quick. I just need to let you know that I feel disrespected that you were late to the date. So I just need to let you know that. And dude, she lost it. She goes, well, now I don't feel comfortable being on this date with you. I'm out of here. And she was texting the person that set the date up, all like, he's a fucking asshole. And like, I saw this homeless man outside the restaurant who had more class than this guy. Like, she just tore him up. And he was just, and then I talked to him about it and he was just like, yeah, I just wanted her to know that I didn't appreciate that. And that I was like I just was offended by that. I just wanted to let her know she disrespected me. And it's just, why? Like, why does it matter? If you're going to do it in a way that's fun and do it in a way that's playful. But I think guys have a real problem with this. I think guys have this obsession of, if you're in any way jokey or if you're in any way doing this sort of funny, you're playing a part, you're jester maxing, right? You're the dancing clown that's always looking for a laugh and you're using humor to mask, like, don't ever put up with disrespect. It's like, all right, dude, enjoy the masturbatorium, I guess, then. But man, so many guys have a problem switching on, just having a good time and actually having a good time. They think it all comes back to the validation aspect. If I do X, then in the covert contract, if I say X, she will do Y. And it's like, say X because you think X is funny, not because you think it's what she wants to hear. But they have a real problem with leaning into that. being light and funny and playful is a huge struggle with most guys.
Yeah, and you can still test like a woman's resistance while doing that too, right? So like if I'm at some venue or something waiting for a chick for 45 minutes, like I'm just gonna be talking to someone else there, like go to the bar, talk to some chicks there, maybe you get a number, maybe when she shows up and you're talking to some other chicks there, you turn around and be like, oh, you made it, and she's like, oh, traffic was crazy. This would be like, I was just telling her that women should not be fucking driving. I think you just proved us right. Right? So like you can push and test her and see like if she will play along in relation to the way that you feel that
They're
she's slighted
scared.
you, right? But just do it in a way like, oh, I don't usually stick around for women that show up late. Like this is gay. This is stupid, right? Just tell her like, be like, oh, you're lucky that I fucked up setting my watch after my travel from Paris because, I thought I was 15 minutes late, but you're fucking 45 minutes late. And then she'd be like, oh, traffic was crazy. I couldn't find parking. And be like, oh, let me guess. You don't know how to parallel fucking park. Right? And you just play with her, right? And she's like, oh, it was so bad. I saw a homeless man. Be like, oh, do you need me to pick you up next time, princess? Just fuck with her.
Yeah, and a lot of guys think it's like they take the aspect of conditioning a bit too far. Think, well, if you allow that, she's going to think that's acceptable behavior, and then she's going to do that the next time and the next time. And it's like, dude, she'll only do it if you allow it, right? I mean, look, if she does it, I mean, the total refusal by a lot of guys. And again, this is why, and it's like, guys, you want to know why you're not getting laid? It's because of this shit. But it's the almost total refusal to give any wiggle room or to allow a woman to make a mistake for any reason, where it's like, if she's late, she doesn't like you. If she's late, she's not interested. She'd be on time for Chris Hemsworth. I'm like, you're not fucking Chris Hemsworth, bro. It's like, and guess what? Like, shit happens. People get caught in traffic. Sometimes parking fucking sucks. This probably wouldn't have happened under other circumstances. It's really not that big deal. It's like, if do you really think that she did this to you on purpose? Do you really think that she showed up late to a date that she like, dude, she got in her car and drove, and this was like an hour drive, by the way. She was like in the suburbs and he was in the city. And it's like, do you really think that she got in her car, cleared her schedule, shaved her legs and potentially other body parts, whatever you women are doing on dates these days, put on a matching pair of underwear, right? Did her hair, got her nails done, texted her girlfriends, got a sitter for the kids. Also, she could just be 45 minutes late on purpose so she could stick it to you, a guy that she doesn't know and has never met before. What fucking planet do you guys live on? And it's just creating this insane scenario in your mind where you're just the victim and she's out to get you. And then you think somehow disciplining her, like, and chastising her like she's your daughter coming home late from prom night curfew, like that's going to get you anywhere. It's like, dude, do you want to get laid or do you not? Do you want to have great times with women or do you not? Because if the guys keep going down this road, it's like, man, it's just, you guys won't stop shooting yourselves in the dick. You won't get out of your own way. And maybe that's it. Maybe the fear is having to actually perform. Maybe the fear, and what I mean by perform, I mean actually execute. I don't mean be fake. I mean be the leader, have a good time, learn how to joke around, be charismatic, take the lead of the date. Man, it's just, the competition is in the basement, man. It really is. I think, but when I say that, I wonder who I'm talking to. Because I'm like, the competition's fat, weak, doesn't like talking to girls, spends all his time online, doesn't have any hobbies, is getting drunk on the weekends, caring about sports. Are guys that don't do that actually watching this? Or is that just, I don't know. I don't know who's watching. Every now and then I'll get like an email from a guy like, hey man, I really like this show and I really like this. I'm like, oh, cool. I didn't know people still watch my shit anymore. But it is, man, it just makes me just go, God, some of these guys are just absolutely doomed and can't be helped.
Yeah, guys need to look at the you got to look at the opportunities, man, like the potential, right? So if a chick shows up 45 minutes late, you can tease her about this shit for a year,
all night and then some. Yeah.
You can tease her for a year about it, right? And like it's fun. It just gives you something to mess with her about
Free
for a
ammo.
long time. Like there's stuff that I've been teasing some of my chicks for multiple years about it, right? It's always fun. So guys just need to not give a fuck. Who cares?
Yeah, you care too much, dude. Like caring too much is gay. Like just don't have to just stop caring. It's all you have to do. But that's the problem. A lot of these, and that's also a huge part of the problem. Is like the line of work that I'm now in is that it is in like the matchmaking space. A lot of it comes with the air of it's very everything is really serious. I've found it's it's super focused. It's like everybody's here like for intention and long term. And I don't want to say too much about this kind of stuff in case this ever gets found or watched. I mean, maybe it will tomorrow because we're going to do a podcast. But if you're watching this now, like I'll just say this: like this is just how it is, and I don't fault people. I don't think it's necessarily a negative thing to want something serious, but when all you're focused on, it's like people are missing the forest for the trees. They're thinking, can I marry this person before they've even met? They're not thinking about, is this chick fun to be around? Do I actually like her vibe? Is she somebody that we have the same relatively like style of humor where like I can throw something out there like you did with your chick on the phone test and she won't give me shit back, or she'll laugh and she will play along and run along with it. They're thinking about like, oh, well, they want 3 kids and I only want 2, so it's just not going to work out. It's just, it's very been very interesting to see, where it's just like, man, like, there's been relationships I've had where it's like we thought each other was hot and we hooked up, and then it turned into like a 1.5 year, 2 year long relationship. We weren't even thinking about that. And then we made everything work despite that. But there seems to be a very heavy emphasis and focus on compatibility and not a huge focus or emphasis, or maybe enough emphasis on the chemistry or the sexual aspect of it. Because even guys that I've seen going out on multiple dates, they're going on like 4, 5, sometimes 6 dates. And like, yeah, we made out. Yeah, we had some like heavy making out and some dry humping. I'm like, nice, dude. Like, you 17? Like, what's going on? It's just, it's weird to talk a lot, but it's like it's weird because guys just for whatever reason, just a lot of these guys don't see sex as a necessary part of the equation. They don't see it as part of the dance, which I think you can't remove it. It's absolutely necessary. It's imperative.
Low T.
Could be. I think
I
it's
don't know
just
who has
fear.
time for that shit.
I think it's just fear. I think that's all that it is. And I think these guys are like a lot of so there's guys that I work with, and then the girl's like, well, the girl, she wants to take it slow. She wants to get to know me better. She wants to she wants to get things slow. She wants to take off like this. And it's like every time guys have told me she wants to take things slow, she wants to take things slow. After like 3 or 4 dates, they're getting the let's just be friends chat. So it's like, at what point, what's that?
I'm just not funny enough. That's she's like, I want to take it slow because he hasn't showed me he's funny enough yet.
It could be, it might be that, or whatever it is. Or is it like, do you think guys are just not aggressive enough sexually? Like, do you think, because I think women will punish that, because I think what it does is like, now I don't mean women will be like, you're not going after me and I want you to, so I'm going to punish you for not doing it so you'll learn. I think it makes women really self-conscious about themselves, because if you think about the average woman and the messages she gets online all day, all sexually, like women put a 1 in, like woman put a 1 in the chat if you've got an unsolicited dick pic in the last like 60 days. Don't actually do it, but it's like very common. Or I've some girls that I follow will post screenshots of DMs they've gotten from dating apps, and it's all just like, let me spit in it from behind or some shit. It's just the most crazy shit, dude.
Works better than Hello Beautiful, I'll tell you that much.
Honestly, maybe if somebody tries that and it works, let me know. Let me see that DM. But the point being, Jesus Christ, that's so gross. The point being, Jesus. The point being that these women are used to being advanced upon sexually. They're used to being talked about and talked to very explicitly, very sexually. So when a guy is not doing that, he thinks he's being respectful. And part of that is like there is a respectful aspect to not just going straight to like, I want to drill you into the mattress. Like there's a build up and there's timing and there's a way to do it. It's like a dance, right? We talked about it's push pull. It's building up the anticipation. It's the right timing and setting for it. But there is a window. And if you go past that window, if you go long enough, multiple dates, multiple weeks, she's going to be like, is this guy doesn't even like me. And the fact that he hasn't tried to escalate sexually and try to get in my pants makes me feel bad about myself because it makes me feel like I'm undesirable. And I don't want to be with a guy who makes me feel undesirable, or I don't want to feel undesirable or undesired. So I'm going to not talk to this guy anymore because when I'm with him, he doesn't want to fuck me. So I'm not going to be around him. I want to be around a dude that's going to unapologetically like toss me around a little bit, like slap my ass, like whatever. Like that's, and so it's a hard conversation to have for a lot of guys because they listen to this stuff at face value. And I'm not sitting here telling guys like, hey, if she's telling you she just wants to take it slow, you should grab her ass and pull her hair because she's probably telling you that because she's not interested in you, right? To a certain extent. So I don't say there's a sweet spot or you should have sex earlier or you should wait or there's a specific sweet spot in a window where you should be having sex, but it certainly exists. There is too early and there is too late. Like you got to figure out what that sweet spot window is. But the only way you're going to figure that out is if you can escalate. And you need to be escalating every time you meet with her and never de-escalate.
Yeah, typically, and I don't think a lot of guys have really picked up on this. Typically, the women you're going to have the best experiences with dating are the ones that aren't on birth control or other drugs like SSRIs and all that type of stuff. Um, but they have a cycle. They have that time of the month, and then they have that time of the month.
Yeah.
So most of the time, guys, like you're on a clock. You're not the only guy that she's talking to. And as soon as it's ovulation time, she's getting with a dude. Like she's throwing on her low cut dress going out. She's take whatever guy that she's seen at the same time as you that has the balls and the brains to do it in a way that's not weird to escalate with her when she gets to her ovulatory phase. She's sleeping with that dude. And once
Yeah.
she does that, like that's who she's going to be attached to for the foreseeable future until he becomes a less desirable option than some other guy. So like guys are on a clock, and it's hard to tell like what time of the month it is for a chick. But and guys also kind of get this mixed up, right? Where they're like, oh, she was crazy and sexting me the first week leading up to the first date, and this other girl wasn't. So this one's more into me than that one. And like, yes, that's often true, but it's also possible that number one is ovulating and number two is not, right? So it's like just not the right time for you to move through that part of this interaction. Um, and guys don't pick up on this enough, right? And it frustrates me because how can you have less understanding about how the world works and how to interact with like the opposite sex and other people than someone that's been told whatever the fuck they want to hear their entire life? Like, please be better at picking up on things than she is, for the love of God.
Yeah, man. I think that point is exactly why there's such a men not being able to pick up on covert signals and women not being overt communicators has larger implications than like my wife is mad at me and she's slamming doors, but I don't know what I did, or she's giving me the cold shoulder. There's, when you think about, and this is real, when you think about women who have negative experiences after the fact, right? You know, There was a story that I was reading just the other day where it's like this woman went out with this guy and they started making out or whatever, and he was getting a little hot and heavy, and it was maybe like a little more than she would have liked, but he didn't like grab her inappropriately. He didn't make any crazy overt over the top sexual advances. He didn't like whip his shit out or whatever. And she went out with him on a second date. She was like, "Yeah, that was a little like weird, but like whatever. I'm like, maybe it's a fluke or maybe I still like him or whatever." She never said stop. She never said I'm uncomfortable. She never said, never said anything along the lines of this is an assault. And then second date, kind of the same thing. And it got a little hotter and a little heavier and same old deals. It's just, and the only, he said something to her that was, again, not sexual in nature, but it was just kind of like teasy and playful. And, she's like, well, I went home to talk to my, girlfriends about this. And they all said that I had to block them, and it's like, guys are covert or overt communicators. If guys don't hear stop and they don't hear get off me, they're convinced they still have a green light. And so women live in this world where he's like, well, he should be able to pick up on these signals, or I'm giving him signals that I'm not comfortable with this, or he should know this, or like, and guys just, a lot of them just don't work this way. And so all this stupid ass retarded discourse about how all dudes out there are somehow predators. And it's like, are there some legit sick fucks out there? Yeah, absolutely. They certainly exist, and they should be strung up and fucking hung and killed and like castrated and all that shit. Like, fine. Fucking cut the shit off. Stuff it in their mouth. I don't give a fuck. But most guys are just fucking horny motherfuckers that are not hearing no, and that are just misreading the situation and just not picking up on certain cues that are covert. And so that's really the biggest problem. Like that's where I see the biggest breakdown in our communication. Is like guys are like, dude, she didn't say stop, she didn't say get off. I didn't say any, like she didn't say she didn't say I'm uncomfortable. She didn't say this is too much. And then she went out with me on a second fucking date. Like, what am I supposed to think? Like, because we live in a world where it's like, hey man, you got a problem? You're like, yeah. I'm like, all right, like let's fucking go. Let's fucking settle it. Versus women don't do that shit. So that's something that's also very difficult. And I think that's what also scares a lot of guys, is because the whole Me Too thing, the whole like, hey, like I don't want to be too creepy. I don't want to be this. It's like, but dude, you know that you have resources, and you know that you can try things, and you don't have to just jump right to the end of the story. You can escalate slowly. You can push pull. You can try things, and then you can say, oh, I got a little pushback there. She's clearly pulling away. I need to back things down a little bit. So many guys' problems would be solved if they would just learn some of this covert communication that these women are naturals at, but they just can't be bothered, and they just don't think it's on them. And it's like, nope, I'd rather just go be a Sigma male or like MGTOW or whatever. And it's like, all right, man, it's like the same thing with game. It's like, oh, I'm not going to learn game. Like if she doesn't like me for who I am, it's like, cool, bro. Like it's just the way that it is, man. So more for the guys that understand it, I guess. And then the world continues spinning madly on.
Yeah, I mean, these are the 60% of guys that for all of human history wouldn't have reproduced normally.
Yeah, they got shot in a boat on D-Day.
Couldn't figure it out. Now pull up the last comment real quick.
This one right here.
Yeah. See, I have a problem with this, because the suggestion that we can somehow get women to communicate like quote unquote adults is absurd to me. Never gonna happen. Never gonna fucking happen. So yeah, we love you, but this partner vibe shit just kills me.
Well, we just can't expect him to act like men. It's the same way where it's like when women say, hey, stop being such a knuckle dragging caveman and wanting to fuck everything that moves. It's just like, we can't help it. We literally are born with it, and we walk around with it every single day. And there's literally nothing we can do. We can choose not to act on it, but we have it. And here's the difference. Men don't get to have that. Like, we already know we live in a world where our natural desires and what we think is normal is demonized and incorrect. And whatever is best for women and is whatever is most female is most correct, right? So when you have the whole world that's saying like no, women are perfect, they don't have to change, and it's just like, yeah, what is their incentive now? Like that's the thing that I'm gonna find myself is I'm gonna be as I coach some of these women, it's like gonna be very interesting because it's like, what can I push them on and what can I not? Like, what can I say, like, hey, like being kind of fucking stupid, or what is a legitimate thing? So it's been very interesting so far. But yeah, we'll I think the podcast that I do with these guys is gonna be a lot more subdued. It's not gonna be as like spicy, but who knows? Who knows where it'll take us? Like we're gonna hopefully get into it a little bit, but yeah, like the fact of the matter is that a lot of guys are. I mean, fuck, man, are a lot of guys are just fucked? Like, is that what it is? It's just these guys are just gonna toil and never figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, the hard pill to swallow for women is that, like, women are always like, oh, why do I have to tell my husband what to do, this, that. There are men you wouldn't have to tell what to do. You just don't
True.
want to share them with their wives. This was your fucking choice. This was your choice because back in the day, that's how we operated, right? Women didn't have to deal with men that didn't have their shit in order. They just shared the men that did. For all of human history, 60% of men didn't reproduce, and 99% of women that made it to childbearing age did. So it's like 2.4 women per man. So all of this, my husband, is my third child. I've got to go make money and pay the bills. All of this stuff is because, like, yeah, you're with a dude that wouldn't have reproduced under normal circumstances, and we've convinced you that sharing the man that would make your life amazing and all these things go away is bad. So that's a tough pill to swallow for women nowadays. And now the tough pill to swallow for men is, guess what? 60% of y'all shouldn't be reproducing. Not that like shouldn't be. We don't need it. Like, please, all of the dudes in jail, we need your DNA out of our species. That is
Eradicated
the
from the gene
purpose.
pool.
That's the purpose of the bottom 60%. Like, women select the top 40% of men only. The purpose is so we can move forward as a species. And then, the silver lining is that it's never been easier in all of human history as a man to get into that top 40%. Back in the day, you're like born into this good God help us all. We're just going to we're going to grab the shield and spear, and 30 out of 3,000 of us are going to come home and get to reproduce.
Yeah.
Great. And now it's like, hey, just work hard, go to the gym, eat right, and like go out and flex your social muscles. How hard? Come home in your air conditioning.
The argument is not that it's not. It's also at the same time, it's just as easy, or it's never been easier to be no one, because we've talked about this before, like the time machine thing. Like, hey man, go tell a guy in 1920s that like there's literally men by the millions that just don't do shit all day, and they're just like fat fuckos that have no contributing value to society, and they're like, it's not possible. They couldn't wrap their heads would explode. But it was like I was talking to a buddy about this just today, about this is why our generation, the millennials, there is not a version of, maybe it's sports, but not to this extent, but Disney adults and like superhero adults. Everybody's like talking about the Spider-Man movie, and you've got grown men wearing capes to the fucking theater and like kicking their feet like little girls, like being giddy as they're watching a superhero. It's like, dude, you're not 7 anymore. And it's because we live in a world where these people never had to grow up. It's just, you can just be a kid forever. You never have to go get a job. You never have to contribute to society. You never have to go make something of yourself, because people didn't make something of themselves because they wanted to. It's because they literally had to, or else you were just going to be like, okay, cool, man. Enjoy getting black lung. You're going to go work in the fucking coal mines, right? Like, you're going to get black lung at 27 and you're going to die a virgin, like with no progeny. So that was a reality the entire history of our world until now, very recently. So it's like, hey man, yeah, you want to just like wear pajamas all day and order DoorDash and like Uber Eats? Cool. Like that's the thing. You can do that if you want. You can eat yourself to 700 pounds and get on a TV show. You can go watch movies and you can go to Disney and wear the freaking Mickey ears and like go on rides and just add and contribute nothing if you want to, if that's what you truly want to do. So it's like, yeah, while it's never been easier to be better than those people, it's also never been easier to be those people. So it's just how guys want to look at it. And, but Nuke wrote this great article. I actually don't know if I have it up. And this is something that I shouldn't be advertising for free, but I'll shout him out here. I'm going to put it in the comments. He wrote this thing on Substack that it's like 100 things that your competition is doing. And it's just, I'll read a couple of them off top rip. Like I'll just read a few from there because there's different sections. Like there's participation and dating, physique and health, money and career. So here's a couple of them. So your competition is often not competing at all, since 57% of single Americans say they're not looking for a relationship or casual dates. Your competition is discouraged by silence, with 64% of recent male online daters reporting insecurity over the number of messages they received. Your competition is giving up after 2 bad dates. Your competition is not exercising most days, with only 25.7% of men participating in sports, exercise, or recreation on an average day in 2025. Your competition is part of a male population in which 7.7% currently use electronic cigarettes. That's funny. Your competition is part of the 14.2% of adult men who describe their health as fair or poor. Your competition is sometimes one flat tire from collapse, with 12% of adults saying they could not cover a $400 emergency by any means. Your competition is spending an average of 48 minutes per day playing games or using a computer for leisure. Your competition is spending 31 minutes a day only 31 minutes a day socializing and communicating. Your competition is still asking, so what's your favorite color on a date to break the awkward silence, and so on and so forth. So good article there. But yeah, but here's the thing. There's probably a lot of guys that read that and they go, damn, I do like a lot of these. I need to go through this list and be like, shit, is this me? Like, do I suck? But it's like, if you've got like 80 of those things checked off you don't do, like maybe that's it. Maybe that's the real 80-20 rule. You're only allowed to do 20 things on that list. You better not do the other 80.
Well, when you start looking at the stats, and so I did this recently to mess with one of my girls, right? She's always like, "Oh, I'm so lucky I have you. Like, I'll never meet a man like you." I was like, "Let's see, like, how many men are like actually have their shit together in the U.S., right?" So you can pull a lot of these stats. Some of them you can pull from like the female delusion calculator, right? Like you can go to the data sources for those. Now the stats that get tricky are like they have, like what percent of men are obese or not, right? What percent of men are married or not? How much money men make, how tall men are, all of this stuff, right? Age ranges and stuff like that. The things that are tricky, I would say, is like it doesn't matter if you're not obese. Like, are you sexy to a woman, right? And so you can kind of figure out these stats, like how, this thing, right? Like 25% of guys go to the gym or exercise, whatever. You can start figuring out some of these numbers, and like for guys age 30 to 40 that are 6 feet and taller, sorry, the short kings, aren't married, are fit, like not obese, but also in somewhat decent of shape. That make 250 a year plus, it's like under 30,000 men in the US. Like it's an astronomically small amount of men. And this is not something that's unattainable, right? Like I know plumbers that make 250. They just hustle, right? Like you go make 250 bucks changing a hot water heater. You can do the math at how many of these you need to do in a week. It's not fun. You can do it. But if you're going to go like punch a clock and work 40 hours, make your $110,000 a year and ask where are all the women? Like, dude, there's guys that have been grinding for 10 years, 100 hours a week that are your age now and have a net worth of $5 million that didn't do anything different than work harder, right? So, like, it's not hard to get into this amount of money. Now, if you're like 35 and you're making 100 or 110 or 150, and you're kind of like at the end of the line without like really going crazy with your career or your business or your job, yeah, it's going to be tricky. But for guys in their 20s, like there's no reason you shouldn't be making 250 by the time you're in your 30s. Like you're hearing this message today, go fucking get after it. Like even if you can make an extra 250 grand over the course of 10 years and invest it well, like that alone is going to be a considerable amount of income in your 30s. Like
Yeah.
just the return on investment, right? And
And
if you
even
go
if you
hustle and
are,
buy a property and rent it
yeah.
out, like you might not make money this year when you're 23, but when you're 35, that place is going to be making 2 or 3 grand a month probably because of inflation.
Yeah.
So you just got to work hard, and like it's very easy to get into the top 100,000 eligible bachelors in the United States. Like easier than it's ever been.
Yeah, and even if you are a little bit on the older side, man, like even if you are like early mid 30s or whatever, and you kind of hitting a wall, I mean, you guys will be very, very surprised at what a ruthless like 6 to 12 months, how far that can take you. Like even if you've kind of fucked off for a little while, like the last 10, 15 years, like you know, it's just like getting in shape, right? Like if you're just like a fat dude and you could spend another 10 years trying to slowly like get it off and kind of like half-ass it while you do all this other shit and maybe you make a little bit of progress or maybe it gets you there in 10 years because that's how much effort you put into it, or you can just go complete ape shit and just completely turn it around in like a year and a half if you're just willing to sacrifice for that long and you know get some of that shit. And then the other thing I was going to say is a little bit on the same topic, but like a little bit before was just the idea of yeah, that amount of guys, the amount of guys out there, that pool is very small, but it's infinitesimally smaller when you think about social calibration. Because there's a lot of dudes out there with some fucking money that are tall, that are not fat, that don't know how to talk, that don't know how to speak, that have no idea how to approach women or speak with them, or they completely lack any sort of charisma whatsoever. So, the pool is even smaller than most people think because that's just something you can't get past. I would say the pool of guys, and this is something that I try to tell guys when I coach too. It's like, yeah, man, get your money up, get in good shape, but for fuck's sake, you guys have to work on your social skills because there might be a woman out there and it's like she wants X number of kids, she's Christian conservative, she wants to live in this area of the world, blah, blah, blah. She likes to travel, whatever the fuck. There might be like a million guys that all say the same thing and that line up with her, but there's a million there are many guys out there that align on those things, but there's very few that can turn on her emotions and make her feel something. And guess what? If you can even do that and you can be charismatic and calibrated and make her feel something and be that leader, a lot of that other stuff stops being so important because like man, you can have all that stuff, but if you bore her, it just doesn't matter. If she doesn't like being around you, if she doesn't enjoy your presence, if you're not stimulating her emotionally, you're just dead in the water. It doesn't matter how many kids you want or how much money you make or where you want to live or take your vacations or if you want to get married or not. It just doesn't fucking matter. It just doesn't. Right. So it's like somebody asked me one time, and I don't like using these terms because I think they're like super gay, but it's like, well, what's better, like chemistry or compatibility? And it's like it's like they're not mutually exclusive. But if I had to choose, I would choose a relationship with a very high level of chemistry and low compatibility versus a high compatibility, low chemistry. Because like sex and chemistry and getting hot for one another is the ultimate glue that keeps a relationship together. Otherwise, like you're just friends and like you're business partners. And that stuff also changes over time, like your wants and desires or where you want to live, types of kid, how many kids you want, all that kind of stuff, your plans for your life and your future. That stuff honestly is like very fickle for most people. So like find somebody that you just want to like put her head through a headboard a couple times a day, and that'll take you a lot farther than all this other shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I think men leaning into chemistry like their feelings is dangerous. But yeah, find a woman that has unbelievable desire for you, for sure. But that almost goes back into, like this idea, and guys always like knee jerk and balk at the idea of making a lot of money and working really hard. And a lot of it is just being like relentless and tireless. If you want to be successful, if you want to be a guy that has options, you don't get to come home from work at 5 p.m. and hang out on the couch till 9 and then go to bed. Like, you just don't. You're going to go multiple years where you're like, I don't even have enough time to do the non-negotiables. Like, this is crazy. So like a man that's having fun and enjoying himself, like, usually is not going to be successful. So that's part of it, I think, too. Like, if you're chasing women that get you really hot around, you're going to have a lot of fun. But why don't you chase women around that are really, or like let the women chase you around and accept the ones that will chase you? You might not enjoy banging them as much, but that's good. You're not supposed to have fun. That's how you get better. That's how you win.
Men are not allowed to have fun. It's for women and
No,
children.
you're not allowed.
You don't get to have fun. Well. I think it's a good time to start wrapping it up, man. It's good to do this with you again. I know we had to push it back an hour, but yeah, man, I want to try to doing these every week. I'll be in tune more with you guys about the show coming up. We're going to try to do these new episodes every Tuesday. It's going to be in studio, so we'll see. We may stream it. We may just upload it later, but we'll know more tomorrow. But yeah, man. If you guys are looking to follow us, our Instagram's here tagged at the bottom. Hopefully, I definitely we'd love to get more interaction. I know we haven't been consistent, and but we're gonna make a very concerted effort. I have no travel coming up for the next couple of weeks until we take one of our last DHSC Do Hard Shit Club meetups for this year, and we are taking members there again as well. So if you guys are interested in joining, there's a couple of different options. There's like a straight flat monthly fee, which is like $29 a month. There is a $1,000 a year where you can apply half of that to one of our meetups. So if you want to, apply that to a trip, you guys see us going to Algonquin, shooting guns and that kind of thing. Or if you want to do like the big boy tier, I think I have it at either like 10 or 12 grand for the year. And then you can basically take that entire chunk of money and apply that toward, meetups, however you like. So you can pretty much pay for 2, 3, maybe even 4 events with that kind of money, and you get to go do all the cool shit that we get to do. So if that's interesting to any of you guys, join the club, follow us on Instagram if you haven't already. Anything to send the people off with?
Man, I'm so excited for the next trip.
Yeah, man. We got one last Algonquin trip coming up.
Yeah,
my second one this year. Yeah, it's gonna be wild. I haven't been up there twice in a year. It's gonna be nuts. Like I just left.
That's what, like, when you grind and push yourself, like this trip, I'm looking forward to it so much. And I know I've done it once, and it's not easy. And depending on the weather, it can really suck. But I can't wait to be like 2 feet in the mud with both my shoes stuck in. I'm probably gonna be barefoot on the whole trip anyways. But I can't wait till someone's like 2 feet in the mud, the shoes are unretrievable, with a boat on their head. Because that's going to be like the best. It's just like the best experience. It's so much fun just having like the trials with the boys. Like all of the suck prepares you to have an unbelievable experience doing something that like most guys never experience something like it in their life. Right? And this is what men are supposed to do. This is like the prize at the finish line for dealing with the suck.
Yeah, personally, I'm not looking forward to it at all. I really I usually have my fill every year from Algonquin, and the fact that we're doing true trips this year, plus the big loop, breaking up and down. Like, dude, I like to set up camp and I like to hang there and have my little home in my tent, and we're just going to be nomadic for 4 or 5 days, and it's going to be September. I think the weather should just be about the same it is in May, but it's not Florida by any means. So yeah, we've got that one, and then we're doing a Spartan race in Nashville in October. And then we're kind of wrapped for the year, but we're hoping to add a bunch more members in the off season. Now that we've kind of fully done the rebranding and moved everything over. And yeah, man, it's you don't have to come on these trips as a member if you just want to be a part of a group of guys that are getting after it. We talk a lot about training. We still talk a lot about getting it right when it comes to women and dating and girls and all that kind of stuff, parenting, fatherhood, and it's just a group of dudes that, just want a place where they can be themselves and they can just revel in doing hard shit. So that's what we're all about. So with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap. We'll see you guys same time next week, or maybe 8 p.m. next week. So it'll be a little bit easier on the folks. But yeah, if you guys have suggestions on stuff that you think you'd like to see us talk about, send me shit. I think you can DM people on YouTube now, which is a huge pain in the ass. I can't believe they put that in there. I can't imagine how many of those I'm going to get. But do you guys have suggestions? Drop them in the comments. Anything you want to see us talk about or cover. And we'd love to get some more call-ins. We'd love to have more participation. Like, thanks to the ladies that are always hanging out in the chat, Deb and Amaran and Claudia, of course. And so, yeah, we'll wrap there and see you guys next